Welcome back. I'm hoping that you're having a great new year. 2025 is in full swing. I cannot believe it's already mid-January, but before the year gets away from us, I still want to talk about all the films I watched in 2024. I did a little challenge last year where I watched 52 new releases, all brand new releases from that year, about one for each week, to see how it would affect my viewing experience of films and how it compares to previous years. Going into a lot of these movies, I didn't know if I was going to enjoy them or not because there wasn't much consensus with the general audiences. So this was actually really exciting. There was a lot of stinkers, a lot of surprising hits, things that I wouldn't expect to enjoy, but I did. And so these are my thoughts on it. Sharing 2 to 3 minutes on each one would be crazy. So I'm just giving you one sentence of each movie and of course my rating. If you want to know more about my rating system, I do have a video about that. But before I keep yapping, let's jump into it. We're gonna start this video off with a great stinker. Venom: The Last Dance. I'll be honest guys, a film that has $120 million about a shape-shifting alien with Tom Hardy as the main actor should not be this boring, but it is this boring. 2 out of 10. It only gets a 2 out of 10 because of Tom Hardy. Gladiator 2. Ridley Scott has completely fallen off for me, especially after Napoleon. Gladiator 2 was a great big disappointment. This ain't the story of Maximus. This is the story of Minimus. 4 out of 10. The action in the beginning sequence was really great. Speak No Evil. This is the reason why I don't trust British people. They're not trustworthy. This is also why I don't trust remakes of great foreign films. 3 out of 10. Godzilla x Kong. Empire of tropes and cliches. Now, this originally was a 3 out of 10, but the more and more I thought about it, even the thought of having to rewatch this without having financial compensation brought it back down to a 2 out of 10. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Guy Ritchie, guys, he knows how to make a really great, fun film. It's not the most thought-provoking, it's not the most philosophically deep, but I enjoyed it a lot, especially in the movie theater. This is an easy 7 out of 10. The only major problem I have with it is that it's not a true story. It's okay to put "we made this up, guys" in the title sequence. This is not based on true events. Or if it is, it's very loose. Very loose. Longlegs. This film was atmospheric and full of tension. So you know general audiences hated it. 7 out of 10. Kung Fu Panda 4. Kung Fu Panda 4. This feels like a tax write-off. This doesn't feel like a real movie. I can't believe this was made. This is the only 0 out of 10 out of any of these movies. This was horrible. Fall Guy. Now, with the marketing of this movie, I really felt like this is going to be stupid. But the stunts, the camera work, and a lot of the comedy landed for me. I did not expect to enjoy this much. 8 out of 10. He's literally me, but with hair. Kinds of Kindness. My friend took a girl on a first date to watch this movie, and apparently it went really well, which I'm not sure if that's a green flag or a red flag. 6 out of 10. The Substance. Thanks. I hate how much I love this movie. I will never bring this up in polite conversation unless I want the person to never talk to me again. 10 out of 10. Do not eat while watching this movie. Kingdom of the Planet of the Rise of the Fall of the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Now, this film is never going to be as good as the original trilogy with Caesar, and they probably never will be, but I still had a good time with this. 6 out of 10. We needed more of that evil Roman emperor monkey ape guy at the end. There was just not enough of it. Trap. At this point, I feel like M. Night Shyamalan is trolling us. What is this dialogue, bro? What is this story? This is a good idea. You have so many good ideas. Why do you execute them in the worst way possible? 3 out of 10. It was a good laugh, though. A Quiet Place. Day 1. Now, this film was definitely better than part 2, but this franchise has to end. It's got no steam, it's got nowhere to go. Every iteration just kind of ruins the lore and makes me think, like, you know how many islands exist on planet Earth? There's no way they took over planet Earth. 6 out of 10. I would die for that cat. Twisters. This is the food equivalent of an unsalted potato chip. Not like a whole bag of them, just a one single unsalted potato chip. This was so bland, it was so boring, so predictable. Maybe it would have been better in a movie theater, but I did not enjoy this. 1 out of 10. Monkey Man. Now this, I've got a love-hate relationship with this movie. There's so many great things about it. There's so many poor things that I don't like about it. Ultimately, I still enjoyed it, but man, those negative parts just drag it down so far. It's a 6 out of 10. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, I have a whole video about this one. The Beekeeper. Take a shot of honey every single time someone says hive, bee, or beekeeper, and you'll develop diabetes before the end of this movie. 1 out of 10. This movie was definitely watched by Luigi, you know, that guy who shot the CEO. He was like, I'm going to be a beekeeper. That joke only makes sense if you've seen the movie. It ends with us. 5 things I like about this movie. Number 1, it ended. 3 out of 10, I refuse to read the book. Don't even try to comment. I will not respond to that. Joker 2, I refuse to say the French part. I will refuse to say the French part of anything. And especially this movie, since it ruined my day. Major disappointment.
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
2 out of 10. For some reason, they had Tim Dillon in this for 5 seconds. We Live in Time. The Christopher Nolan of love stories. 5 out of 10. Someone get this lady out of the kitchen. Go hang out with your family, you crazy person. Deadpool and Wolverine. Probably the only story that works with a multiverse setting. Because Deadpool, you can't take him seriously already. So why would you take the universe seriously? 6 out of 10. Remember Berries, go hard with this one. The Wild Robot. Man, this movie is exactly why childhood films should not just be brain rot. Because the kids will eat up the brain rot night and day. But when you give them good stuff like this, not only do they enjoy themselves, they get a nice little lesson in there, but you can watch it as an adult and still enjoy it. 9 out of 10. Restored my faith in humanity. Alien Romulus. Speaking of Ridley Scott earlier, he's probably losing sleep over this one, the fact that they made an Alien movie without him, and it was actually good. 6 out of 10. The only reason why it's that low is because there's this dead guy in the movie. I don't know if you guys know, but this guy is dead, and I don't know how I feel about that. So I might make a video about it, but it's a 6 out of 10 for now. Maxine. Not my cup of tea. This whole series has not really been my cup of tea, but I could see how someone could enjoy it.
I mean, it's alright, like...
Not for me. 5 out of 10. Horizon Part 1. Now, I don't care if you call me a boomer. I'm with Bill Burr on this movie. I thought it was fantastic. I could watch this by myself. I could watch this with a group of bros. I could watch this with my dad. It's a perfectly good movie about the West. Western expansion. I loved it. And I hope the other 3 or 4 parts, it's like a huge series, I hope they get made. And I bet they'll be just as good if they are made. 8 out of 10. Megalopolis. Dude, you don't understand how badly I wanted to like this movie. I was justifying in my mind.
Coppola, I must be missing something, Coppola.
Sadly, it's not a masterpiece. It's a master poop. 2 out of 10. Challengers. Who would have guessed? Tennis players are pretentious and full of themselves. I would have guessed that. That's pretty obvious. 8 out of 10. Civil War. Now, the discussion or the dialogue around this film is more interesting than the movie itself. People are just so divided and divisive and aggressive with their stance on this film, which I find really ironic. 6 out of 10. And if you enjoyed the video so far, leave a like, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I am trying to reach a certain subscriber goal, but not 1,000 or 10,000 like the typical YouTuber. No, I'm taking my subscriber count and using it to compare myself to US counties. So right now, if all my subscribers were people in a US county, we'd be the 7th least populated, right above Arthur, Nebraska. So my goal, my next goal at least, is to beat Petroleum, Montana, and McMullen, Texas. If you want to help me out, come and join the county. Roadhouse. Please, someone get Conor McGregor an acting coach. And while you're at it, get a good script, get a good director, just get a good movie. Get a good movie. 1 out of 10. Dune Part 2. Lisa Yagaib! Lisa Yagaib! Lisa Yagaib! I liked it. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. I saw the TV glow. I fell asleep watching this, but somehow in my mind, it's a compliment to the film and not a criticism.
I don't know how it works, but...
Those are my thoughts. 6 out of 10. Keep your kids away from that darn TV. It's going to corrupt them. Furiosa. Finally, someone remembered that women are cool. It took a director from the 80s, but they got it figured out. Finally, they realized it. Again, 7 out of 10. Craven. Yes, exactly what the American people wanted. A Russian anti-hero who breaks the law in the name of the greater good. Exactly what we wanted. 1 out of 10. The only interesting part was finding out whether the actors actually knew Russian, if they were Russian or not. That was the favorite. That's all I did this whole movie. The War of Rohirrim. You know, Tolkien was one of the best authors of all time. Definitely probably the best author in the fantasy genre. And the Japanese anime style has become so ubiquitous with cultures around the world. You would think the creative clash of both of these styles and ideas would produce something interesting, but instead it turned out the most flat, boring story you could think of with these elements. 4 out of 10. Wicked! Okay, so I was praying for this movie's downfall. I hoped it was gonna fail. I saw all the cringy marketing with Ariana Grande and the other actress. I forget her name. I apologize.
I didn't know that was happening.
But this movie got me. I enjoyed it more than I thought it. That part where they're dancing, they're doing this, whatever this was. It got me, dude. I almost cried. I'm an emotional man. And this movie about a green wizard, it got me. 7 out of 10. Someone get Ariana Grande a sandwich right now. Moana 2, and 2 is the correct number. Too many characters, too much retreaded ground, and way too much modern day humor. 4 out of 10. You know they had 3 first-time directors on the movie? 3 new directors on one movie. New directors. They should have hired me instead. It would turn out just as bad, but I would get paid. Flow. I have to admit, I did spend the first 5 minutes of this movie trying to figure out how to turn on the subtitles until I realized none of these animals are going to talk. This is an animated film about animals with no
words.
9 out of 10. This Latvian guy, he was cooking. I enjoyed this whole thing. I think it's very experimental. I enjoyed it. Crow. Now, don't let this merch fool you. This movie, even though it stars Bill Skarsgård as an undead being of supernatural ability, just like in another movie, a much better movie, I didn't like this one. This was the bad one, but I do have this merch. My brother-in-law played at one of the openings at a theater, and so he got a free shirt and he gave it to me. Look at the back. I hope that's popping up on the camera. I better look ridiculous. Boom. I hate that this is the only merch I have from any of the movies in 2024, but you gotta represent. You gotta represent. A complete unknown. Do people actually get this mad about music? Like, if I went to a Beatles concert and they started rapping for like 3 songs, I mean, I wouldn't be crazy about it, but I'd be like, okay, that was kind of interesting. You know, it's the Beatles. You know, if Bob Dylan started rapping and I was at his concert, I'd be like, go for it. Let's see if it sounds good. Do people really get this upset? I don't know. Maybe I'm just too open-minded. Maybe I'm just too intellectually beyond the average human. Maybe I'm just that good. 8 out of 10. Arthur the King. This is a movie about a dog.
Captain Obvious.
And he's by far the best character, the best actor, and he delivers all of his lines perfectly, especially when you compare him to Marky Mark. The dog was beautiful. The rest of this movie, I could live without it. 3 out of 10. Arcadian. Not enough Nick Cage. Not enough tripods. This thing was so shaky, they might as well just made it a found footage film and saved the budget like $1 million. I don't know how much this movie costs, but geez, I got motion sickness and I was watching this on a laptop. 2 out of 10. Transformers 1. Now, this is a good movie. I enjoyed it. I'll get that out of the way, but Chris Hemsworth's voice slowly transforms from his voice to like the original Optimus Prime voice, you know, the
Autobots roll out.
I'm doing it terribly. I think the guy's name is Peter Cullen, his voice, and I'm just like, why did they feel the need to do that, to transform his voice?
Oh my god!
Transform. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I take back any criticism. 7 out of 10. Conclave. This is exactly what it feels like when the boys get together and we try to decide on a place to eat or an activity to do or to watch a movie. You might as well just give up. Don't even try. If it's more than 3 people,
Go home.
5 out of 10. Heretic. Now, this is marketed as a horror film, as a scary movie. Where's the spooky? There was no spooky parts in this movie. It was just Hugh Grant talking about religion for about 90 minutes with 2 scared little girls in the room trying to go home. You know, that was it. That was the whole movie. That's it. 4 out of 10. Blink Twice. Now, I find it a little ironic that Hollywood for the last couple of years has been trying to convince me that all rich men, especially the white ones, are evil and weird and sexist, when all the weird, evil, sexist men seem to come out of Hollywood. 4 out of 10. Speaking of evil men, Didi. Not Diddy. This is D-I-D-I. It's about a little Asian boy. We are officially nostalgic for the late 2000s. It's only a matter of time where a filmmaker makes a movie about the glorious summer of 2016. There'll never be a good of a summer as in 2016. 7 out of 10. Damsel. This feels like a 2-hour video game cutscene and not a very good one. Honestly, gun to my head, I can't name anything that happens in this movie. There's a dragon. 11 from Stranger Things fights with a sword, I think. That's it. That's all I remember. 3 out of 10. Wallace and Gromit. Vengeance Most Foul. Now, this is the first Wallace and Gromit film I've seen, and this is my apology video for sleeping on them for so long. 7 out of 10. Smile 2. More like frown 2. If the goal of this movie was to make me go crazy like the main actress, then it succeeded. 3 out of 10. Bob Marley, One World. Now, I don't know if I like this movie or if I just like Bob Marley. I just like Bob Marley. 5 out of 10. Juror number 2. This is not a sequel, even though it has the number 2 in it. There's been so many 2s this year. But this movie was fantastic. Me and my wife, every 5 minutes, we were pausing the movie and going,
what would you do in this situation?
What would you do in this situation?
it's a great moral dilemma. I really enjoyed this film. 7 out of 10. And last, but certainly not least, I have Nosferatu. Now, the only thing that really irritates me about this movie is the fact that it's not the Nosferatu, because that's how all his other films are titled, The Witch, The Northman. But if you look up the translation into Romanian, it roughly translates into The Insufferable One. So it still kind of works. 9 out of 10. Robert Eggers cannot miss. Not in this heart. Not in this heart. He can't miss. And that's all 52 new releases of 2024 that I watched last year. I know there are more that I missed that I couldn't get to, some of them being The Brutalist, A Real Pain, and then there's a movie about snails that I didn't get a chance to watch either. But let me know what you watched from 2024, what you enjoyed, your best, your favorites, your least favorite, your most stinkers, maybe even some surprise hits. Who knows? And even if you watch something in 2025 and you want to recommend it, don't be afraid to put it down below in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, leave a like, subscribe, and if you really love what I do here, you can always buy me a coffee and put it in the description down below. Love ya. Godspeed.